Seeing none, welcome everybody. Consideration of approval of the agenda.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
The agenda is approved as submitted. Consideration of approval of the minutes of the May 13, 18, and 26 meetings.
So move. Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
The minutes of the May 13, 18, and 26 meetings are approved. Consideration of approval of the consent calendar. Any questions regarding the consent calendar?
So move.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved as submitted. We have a proclamation.
You do.
See if the clerk has the proclamation.
I'm hiding it on you. I'm sorry.
I have somebody here requesting the proclamation.
That would be me.
Would you please step up to the microphone and give your name?
I'm Steve Hansen, representing the Charles City Elks.
And why are you here?
I am here to observe your proclamation for Flag Day, scheduled for June 14th at noon at Central Park.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding...
Do you have anything special planned for that day, Steve?
It's a typical program. We've got music and a speaker and historical flags, as far as I understand.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So move for proclamation.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
And the proclamation is approved. I'll come down and read it.
Okay.
Right on time?
Yeah. His dinger went off on his phone.
Steve?
Yeah, in his pocket.
Step over here. Did you have Councilperson Yeager draft this, or?
Nothing to do with it.
Short.
Okay, whereas Charles City Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks Lodge number 118 desires to hold the annual Flag Day observance at Central Park in Charles City at 4 p.m. on June 14, 2015. Whereas this grand commemorative event is a traditional ceremony with the participation of numerous American citizens, veterans, and local musicians. Now therefore, I, James A. Erb, Mayor of Charles City, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the observance of Flag Day on June 14, 2015, encouraging all our citizens to renew our allegiance to the flag at 4 p.m. at Central Park in Charles City. Signed by myself. I've been to a number of these, and I can tell you it's something people should come out for, especially if we have nice weather.
Hoping you can come again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on.
Sorry.
Make sure you bring that along, because otherwise everybody will stand and be looking at each other at that point in the parade. Other things from the mayor. I just want to make sure, did everybody receive, there was a candidate guide that came out in the last week, 2 weeks, has all the dates and everything in it, so
I was going to say, I don't remember getting that.
the clerk will probably attend to that, I assume.
Okay.
Got it.
And I I would mention, because some of you are involved with this, the Broadband Commission has been set up to meet at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, the 3rd, this week, in the council chambers here. And so you should be aware of that. Sometimes we've had a little problem with notice as soon as will get posted, because it's a open meetings requirement here.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I will, I'm sure.
Okay. Petition, public hearings, communications is a request from pub crawlers to use city parking lot for beer garden for Whitewater event weekend of June 13 and 14, and transfer of outdoor service. Discussion.
We had previously gotten a request from Community Revitalization on this event, and at that time, Torrey's was going to be the one that was going to do the beer tent out here. That has since changed, and now pub crawlers are going to be providing the beer tent. So for their insurance and for them to get the license, they need to show that they have permission from the council to use the parking lot for that purpose. And there was an updated map that Mark sent me over the weekend showing where the beer tent's going to be located. It's now going to be on the east side of the parking lot. Other than that, I don't think there was any changes to the map. But that's all this is going to do, is just us saying it's okay for them to do that so they can get all their stuff in order. So.
Discussion.
Otherwise, everything else is in order?
Yes.
Okay.
They're just
I'd so
waiting on
move.
this.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Yeager. Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Okay, the request is approved. Next is a first reading of ordinance 1082, adopting the Code of Ordinances of the City of Charles City, Iowa. Discussion.
As you all know, we have been working very hard over the last few years, yes, I said years, to get the Code of Ordinances updated. Most of the changes that we have listed are due to legislative changes. It's been since 2005 since this code has really been gone through, so we figured it was time. But most of the changes are due to legislative changes, just to bring everything up in sync with the state code. There was a few minor changes as far as terminology. Some places in there they referenced a Public Works Director. We do not have a Public Works Director anymore, so we would substitute either, the city engineer or whatever would fit better for that. So most of it was minor things that were changed. In order to adopt this, we need to do 3 readings. It's done by ordinance. So we will need to do 3 readings of this and hold a public hearing. So tonight we will be doing the first reading of the ordinance, and then the resolution will be setting the date for the public hearing for the June 15th council meeting. And then the 3rd reading will be held at the July 6th meeting, and then it will be adopted. And Iowa Codification is sending us, I haven't gotten them yet, but they will be sending us hard copies. The new copy will also be put on the city website. The current one is on there, and once this gets adopted, we will put the new one on there. And I've got it set up, hopefully, to get a file that's searchable. So if someone wants to go in there and they can search for, city administrator or something, and they can put that in there and they'll be able to search. So Iowa Codification said they could provide that to me. So that's what I'm going to shoot for, to get that on the website. So it's a little easier for the citizens to use it if they want to. So, and of course there's always a copy here at City Hall that people can look at. But anyway.
Discussion, questions?
Ralph, you read it all and comfortable with everything?
Have I read the entire thing? I would say collectively, we've been through the entire code and had numerous meetings. I would point out that most of the changes are mandated by state law. There's a few that we're just correcting things, like Trudy mentioned, in terms of wording. We are making a change to our inspection ordinance to require registration at the end of October, and that's something we'll have to further contact landlords about and advertise. But I thought I should mention it just because that's probably one that is of some particular interest to some members of the community.
And it's still relatively new yet, besides. So
Yes.
It's going to be kind of a
That's
change.
right.
So,
Yeah. And Paul and Jason will send out notification to the landlords, letting them know of this change so that they will have to comply with that. So they will make sure they get notified. Yeah, thank you, Ralph, for pointing that out.
I'd so move.
Second.
This is for the first reading of the ordinance.
Right.
Okay, any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Okay, the first reading is approved. We'll have the first reading.
Ordinance number 1082, and ordinance adopting the Code of Ordinances of the City of Charles City, Iowa.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of Resolution 74-15, directing the clerk to publish notice of hearing on the adoption of the proposed Code of Ordinances of the city. Discussion? It's a part of that process,
Yes, sir.
correct?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Okay, the motion's approved, and the notice of hearing will be published.
Yes, sir.
Consideration of Resolution 75-15, approving final plat of Allied 7th subdivision. Discussion.
Well, Allied Land Development LLC, they are the development group that has developed this and the past Allied additions in the vicinity north of Clark Street. The Planning and Zoning Commission met last Wednesday, May 27th, and approved a recommendation of approval of the final plat. Now, the final plat is in accordance with Section 6 of the Charles City Subdivision Ordinance, and it's in substantial compliance with the previously approved preliminary plat. The plat includes 6 lots, and it also completes Meadow Lane with a terminating cul-de-sac on the north end of the subdivision. So we recommend that the council follow this recommendation and approve resolution number 7515, approving the final plat of Allied 7th Edition.
Discussion or questions?
Does this involve the building of any more houses out in that area, John, or is this based on what's already built out there?
No, it's new lots. Actually,
Okay.
right now, there's a twin home under construction and a single-family home under construction on the two southerlymost lots.
Okay.
But altogether, there's 6 lots in the
6
subdivision.
that are going to be developed in this?
Yes.
8 total, but
So on 6
6 more. Okay.
Further discussion or questions?
Since Mrs. Parson just showed up, I'm sure that's what she's here for. Would you like to speak to this issue, or?
Thank you. I probably, you've already been filled in by John on this. We are obviously proceeding out there at Allied Housing Subdivision. The City Council has been extremely supportive of this project over the years, and we certainly appreciate that. We currently have 2 units under construction out there, one that's finished and ready to go, and 3 others in the planning stage. I guess we have 3 under construction, 1 almost done.
That's good. It's
So
been a
we
good
certainly
project.
appreciate the council's support on it.
I'd so move.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Resolution 75-15 is approved.
Thanks,
you.
Connie.
Good time.
Thanks for sticking around. Glad to have you tonight.
Consideration of Resolution 76-15, setting date of public hearing on status of funded activities for housing rehab project.
Part of the benefit
Discussion.
of having the funding for our owner-occupied CDBG housing project is we have regular status updates, and essentially that's what we're doing, is we're going to be setting public hearing for the next regular council meeting to get a general description of what we've done to date, a summary of all the expenditures, general description of what's left, and changes to be made to budget, and so on and so forth. And we'll have Steve Wendt from from 9 o'clock here to kind of lead us through that public hearing. So we're looking to set public hearing for June 15th at 7 o'clock.
Questions or discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager. Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Resolution 76-15 is approved. Consideration of Resolution 77-15 approving consulting services for City Hall assessment. Discussion.
Well, as we talked about at our last workshop, we were looking at doing a couple of different assessments in the community. The one, first and foremost, that we're talking about here is review and assessment of our existing City Hall building. We've been talking about this for the last several months as far as what our needs are at this building and for our future growth. And in consideration of the requests that have come the city's way as far as interest in other locations, we really want to get a good handle on what we have here at this facility first. So what you have before you is a proposal from FE8 Associates to do a City Hall assessment for the cost of approximately $5,500. And they'll come in and look at the structure, the HVAC, the electrical, the ADA compliance, all those types of things, to give us a final report on what we have, what we'd be looking at for future expenses, and so we can make a solid decision moving forward. And actually, they stopped in today. We had some initial discussion on the building and taking a first look. So we also have Don Seymour here from FEH. He's here to answer any questions that I can't answer that the council may have. But basically, we'd be looking at about a 45-day process, starting here in the next week. This would run in conjunction with the other larger scale community facility assessment as well. But this would be done before that, so we would have a full understanding of what we have and where we need to go.
So this is going to look at the entire facility as far as maintenance and plumbing, electrical, air handling, I mean the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the brick and masonry, which is really a concern that we have. So it's going to address all those things.
Could you give us your name?
My name is Don Seymour. I'm Associate Principal with FEH Associates.
Do you want to elaborate on any of this in terms of what kind of detail we'll end up with when we, as part of this?
Absolutely. When we do our assessments, we typically will go into every single room from top to bottom, looking at everything from the finishes through the structure, and then we have our other team members looking at the mechanical, electrical, looking at all your gear, ductwork, lights, everything, including the outside and up on the roof. And then we'll give you a breakdown of what needs to be addressed as far as maintenance items, and then also relative costs.
Discussion, questions?
Does this also get into providing any detail on forward-looking, needs and things like that?
I believe that's also part of the larger scope. We've included programming as part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as talking about getting into space needs and whatnot, that's not part of this particular proposal. That's part of the larger project.
Further questions or discussion?
Will we be getting updates throughout the process, or just after that 45-day? I mean, what should we be expecting?
You will likely be part of the process.
Okay.
Because it's with city staff and elected officials. So I would anticipate that each of you in one way, shape, or form will have some participation.
I'd so move.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye. Thank you, then.
Resolution 77-15 is approved. Consideration of Resolution 78-15 approving city participation and cost sharing in community facilities assessment. Discussion.
Now, this is part of the larger community scope facility assessment. You know, we have Kevin Epperly, one of Don's colleagues, attended our joint entity meeting here a couple weeks ago, where we talked with the Y and the city, the county, and the school, and we all have various projects and needs out there in the community, and we thought that, it would be very beneficial if we could all work together through this planning process to come up with an end result for determining a means forward and a way forward. Just from the city hall end, there's interest in the city in possibly moving to one spot. Well, then this opens this area. If another entity comes in, there's a lot of things that one doesn't happen with the other. So getting our arms around those various projects, it would be extremely helpful to have the various entities involved that have facilities or have needs for facilities to kind of sit down, go through a process, and really determine the pros and cons of the spaces needed, the locations that are available, the locations that possibly aren't available, and just kind of vet through that process and get a good handle on what we need and a good way forward. And when we met here a couple weeks ago, those various entities, we looked at this proposal, and it was about a $30,000 proposal. And we initially each were very encouraged by the work that FEH had done. I know most notably the Mitchell County Courthouse had been mentioned about how that process had gotten kind of stalled or bogged down, and this firm was able to come in and get that project to completion. And another one that caught my eye was the process they did in Dubuque, where the city was looking for additional office space, and the county was looking for a new jail. And I said, well, that sounds kind of familiar. And they went through and ranked 50 different locations, pros and cons, and came up with a list of the top candidates, and they're moving forward with that. So we were all very encouraged by what we had seen, and thought they had a lot of major accomplishments and in the realm of what we're looking for. So each of the members, the school, the county, the Y, and the city, we were each going to come back to our individual boards and check to see if we could garner support for participating in this. Initially, we're looking at a cost breakout of the school covering $15,000 of this, the city covering $5,000, the county potentially covering $5,000, and the YMCA covering $5,000. YMCA, to my understanding, has approved their participation. I know the county did some initial discussion this morning. They'll have it on their agenda next week. And then the school will have it on their agenda next week also. So it seems like a good way for multiple entities to kind of share in the costs and come up with a good solution that takes public input and comes up with an answer for us. So that's how we ended up to where we are today.
Is this going to get very deep into the numbers, Steve, as far as cost and things like that?
From my understanding of the samples I've seen, yeah, I mean, it gets into acquisition, construction, and then also operation and maintenance, and then that goes into the process as far as ranking locations, if I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly right.
It all comes into that process.
Is there a safety check if some of the entities, or one or more, do not participate? Then the cost would have to go up per the ones that did participate. And is there any kind of a safety on that?
That's what Ralph and I were talking about here just at the beginning. I think what we'd do is we'd have the council approve this contingent upon the approval of the other entities at that $5,000 level.
I would think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Is this the same group that put 7 Catholic parishes together somewhere in southeast Iowa? Or is that a different?
I believe it was in Clinton.
Okay.
I think there was that was one of Kevin's examples where of a real challenge, but one they were able to accomplish. I think it was 7 parishes with 4 schools, and they got that all down into one parish, one school.
You get that many Catholics to agree, it's great. And I'm Catholic.
I was impressed that they could do that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think there was just a lot of aspects of the presentation and what they've done. I mean, that it speaks for itself. So, it just seems like a good way to proceed. And of course, we'll be using our information we gain from our City Hall assessment. The YMCA has already done a facility assessment. The school obviously has done a facility assessment, and the county is looking towards doing one as well. And so, you know, we'll all have that information, knowing what we have, and now we can start plugging it into various spots in the community to see what would work, and we'll find out what doesn't work.
Right.
At least we'll find an answer.
For myself, anyway, it's been one of the biggest things that I've talked about since the whole thing started with the middle school and things, is we have to have numbers that we can look at to be able to make an informed decision. So hopefully this will help get us farther down that road.
Yep, that's it.
So,
I move we go along with this pending the approval of the Y, and the county have yet to go with it. Is that right?
That's correct.
second.
Just as a reinforcement, I was just sitting here penciling out. I sit on a committee for revitalization for a community center project. I sit here at the city on a variety of things that involve a comprehensive plan that we're going to be working with all of this summer and fall, and this kind of thing will become part of that planning process, whether we did this or not. The Y, I sit on that committee that's basically an evaluation of their building status, and the jail, that particular committee is the jail assessment. I sit on that. I also sit on the repurposing committee for the school, which has to do with the middle school that needs a purpose or a new use as they change uses in their facilities. So I wholeheartedly think that we need the coordination that something like this can bring to it.
You honor your set way too often.
So there you go. Any other questions or discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
78-15 is approved. Consideration of unfinished business. Hearing none. Consideration of new business. Hearing none. Miscellaneous correspondence.
None, Your Honor.
City Attorney's report.
Just a heads up that Trudy and I are going to try to eliminate 10 and 11 for the future, so we'll be taking it up in a workshop.
Or taking it straight to council.
We'll be bringing it up
Was
in
this
new business or old business.
Is this going to take as long as when you redid the ordinance?
Oh, gosh, I hope not.
You guys.
Okay. City Clerk's report.
Our next planning session will be June 10th at 7 o'clock.
So,
While I'm giving dates, however, the annual conference for the League of Cities is September 23 to 25. You all should have gotten those materials as well.
Cedar Rapids this year.
Okay. City Administrator's report.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I spoke to Mid-American Energy last week, and they are going to be announcing a new LED light exchange program. And we are going to be meeting with them prior to our City Energy Advisory Committee that's been meeting and working with the state on coming up with energy-saving ideas and practices, and so we're eager to hear what Mid-American has to offer as far as LED lighting. We were already working with them on the Hy-Vee-Tyson parking lot for incentives on that LED replacement project. But it sounds like they're going to have something bigger and better here, so we're eager to learn more about that. And on that note, if you haven't had the chance, please take the opportunity to go downtown in the evening and check out the Santa LED lights that are in that 200 block of Main Street. We have a couple more samples down there that have been up for the last probably a couple months now, and it's kind of a top-down shining LED light based on what the committee saw at Lake Mills, which was a really nice light plan, and I'm told that Norma even likes it. So
There we go.
That's a big thumbs
Good.
up.
Who even likes it?
Norma Breitbach,
Norma Breitbach.
who was involved, one of whose person was greatly involved with the design of those lights on Main Street as is, and shared her objection to the colors previously. So she's still very much involved.
I've been working her hard. So I told her to go down and check them out because it's a softer light and it's much more pleasing to the eye.
And
which it is.
the benefit of the downward directional through what other number of communities have installed through the annual league conferences, what they brought up is that when you shine, if you have any intention of having on Main Street upstairs living quarters, the lights we currently have shine straight into them and are not adequate for that purpose. Plus, the large majority of the light goes up and out and not down and light up the street. So this should increase the benefits of having the lights there
and reduce light pollution. So speaking of the Energy Grant team, we've been meeting on a monthly basis, and we've developed a number of quick projects that we feel that some are going to be able to be implemented quick and very affordably here in the current budget starting in July, and then maybe some larger projects that we'll be looking at funding for the following year. So, but even with that said, they're pretty minor in cost, but very helpful in the grand scheme of things. Of course, any work that we do here at City Hall is kind of on status quo. I mean, there's a lot of retrofitting and things that we can look at, but until we decide what the purpose is going to be of this building, we're going to take that as it comes. On June 18th, I just want to let you know that been working with the Osage Sister City Tour, and they have a contingent from the Ukraine coming to visit for a multi-day conference, and they're kind of wrapping up their visit with a visit to Charles City to see our parkside developments and finish up down at the Whitewater Park, show some of the things we have going on, so that'll be interesting. We're working on the site certification process with Tim Fox at ADC, looking to get the White Farm property certified. I know John and myself have been working with him, among others. We had the site certification consultants in town last week, and we reviewed the site, and so that's moving forward and looking positive. And then the last thing I just want to mention that Trudy and I had a phone conference call today with Civics Plus, who is the creator of our city website, and as we've been looking at going paperless, working towards using the iPads, we've talked to a couple different services that can provide agenda document services for regular council meetings, and so just had the question, well, maybe Civics Plus offers something like that. We contacted them, and in fact, part of the package deal when we got the website was an online agenda making tool. So we got a tour of that today. It looks pretty straightforward. And so we're gonna be doing some testing with putting some agendas together, and over the next few weeks with myself. We won't subject you guys to that. We'll work out the kinks first.
Steve's the guinea pig. Yeah, we'll work it out.
An app for that goes with that?
No, what you would get was you'll get an email notification or a text notification. You can get it a couple different ways. So when you get that, it'll give you a link. And you click on that link, and it'll take you to the city website where that's listed, and then you can download it from there. And it looks like it should be pretty helpful. And
right on that ad.
For the added price of $0.
Do we still come here for meetings, or we can sit at home?
In your
We'll
easy
here,
chair.
Can you FaceTime it?
No FaceTiming each other during meetings. So that was encouraging, because some of the other vendors we looked at, bigger, broader programs, but it might be more than what we need, and since we already have something, let's check it out, see how it works, and if we need to add to it from there, we can. So,
I like the price tag.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we
There
do
might be a
too.
$400 bill for putting a new icon on the webpage. That would eventually get us to have where you could go and have on-demand viewing of city council meetings. Yeah, other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Board, commission, or committee reports? Or a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned.